All right, folks, this is Jason with Primal Outdoors channel, and today we are in my shop. This is the little shop that Megan and I rent so that we can, keep some tools and a workspace so that we can work on projects on our vans. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be starting on build version 2.3.4. I don't even know. I've changed this van so many times. I have no idea what version this will be. But the reality of it is I've been using the van now for a couple months with me and Megan both in the van. She's going to be, once we get done with her van, she will be moving into her own van. But I like the direction I'm going with this, but there's a few glaring problems that I need to get taken care of before I get too much further along. All right, so the first thing is since me and Megan have been living in the van full time, I've got this area set up as a kitchen. I put this cabinet in temporarily. I put a little cook stove here in that allows us to cook. And then, of course, I've got the Snowmaster fridge here. But my original plan with the van didn't have this being a kitchen. It had this being a place where I was going to work and edit videos. So it made sense at the time to have all my electronics here. At this point now, it no longer makes sense for me to have my electronics here. In fact, it's very bad that it is here because I'm obviously cooking. You got steam, you got things splattering, we make spills every now and then. And of course, I've got all my very expensive power system running right here that could be easily damaged by that stuff. So what I want to do is pull all this stuff and relocate it to the back passenger corner of the van where it's far away from cooking and all the things that we are doing right here in this space. For me to do that, it kind of brings me to the second thing that is going to be an issue, or is not really an issue, but I need to do anyways, is I'm going to have to pull out all of my interior siding that I put in so that way I can reroute the wires. And part of that I want to do also because I want to plane these boards down. I really like the looks of these boards in here, but I do feel like they're thicker than they need to be. And I think that I can thin them down with a planer, still maintain the aesthetic of the boards, but shed, some weight out of the build by planing them down by about 3/8 of an inch is what I'm going to plane them down. So, or plane out of them. I'm not going to plane them down to 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to plane 3/8 of an inch off of them. So, and then I want to stain them because quite honestly, I didn't stain them when I put these together. I actually put this all together in a camping spot when I originally did the siding. But now that I've actually got a shop to work with, I want to pull them all out. And while I'm rerouting the wires, I'm going to stain all the boards after I plane them, stain all the boards. Plus, I've got to get some new boards for this side because I want this side to extend all the way to the driver door. All right, so as you can see, I've got a lot of work to do to the van, and I want to get back out adventuring with the van as soon as possible. I don't want this to bog me down too much. As far as I can see right now, I'm figuring this process with everything that I'm wanting to do is going to take me about 2 weeks to do. And I'm going to bring you guys along, but it's going to be very speedy. It's not going to be a real cinematic video in any way. A lot of time lapses with short bits of explanation along the way. Because of the fact that I am tearing it completely down, I've had to figure out different living arrangements. So that is another reason why, again, I want to try to, just burn through this as fast as I can and get back into living in the van where I'm happy and out adventuring, doing the types of content that you guys like. But if you are interested in see how things kind of go and here's some reasonings for why I'm doing certain things certain ways, then, follow along. Here's Daisy laying on the ground. She actually has a bed back in the back corner back there, but I think on these hot days she prefers the coolness of the cement. So, but she is just sacked out, comfy as can be. But she does have a bed back there that she wanted to lay somewhere a little softer than cement. So the first step was to get the current build out of the van. I had just built this bed a couple months ago and I was liking how it was working, so it will go back in. The siding was next. I numbered the boards, that way I would know what boards went where when I went to go put them back in the van. Alright, so I'm working away here on getting all the boards off the ceiling and also recovering the Havelock wool I put in. So a lot of people have had questions about the insulation that I've used, and I do have a video talking about the insulation that I use. This is Havelock wool. It's not fiberglass insulation like a lot of people assumed when they seen it before in the van. It's actually wool, and a lot of people have asked how it was doing and how it was holding up, and it was doing very well. And now being able to look at it after it's been in the van for I think over a year, it looks just as good as the day I put it in. So I'm going to be very careful to recover all this, and it's just going to go right back in. All right, guys, well, I've got the planer all set up. Now that we've got all the boards out of the van, I want to get them planed down before I do any more removal. I still got to take all the electronics out. But if this way, if I can get all the boards planed, I can start working on staining them, and then that can be drying while I work on electrical stuff and get that done. So it's getting late in the day, the sun's going down. It's actually really beautiful. There's some nice light coming into the shop. It's just a pleasant time to be here. It's cooled down a little bit. So figure I'll work on some planing and get a step ahead for tomorrow. All right, guys, well, we are all done. We finally got done planing all the boards. We got everything kind of stacked up over here. That actually took a lot longer than I was anticipating. It took several passes to knock it down. You know, I took planed off probably 3/8 of an inch, so yeah, it took a lot of passes. So what we're gonna do now is I'm actually gonna move all of the sawhorses and everything outside, and we're gonna get the staining done so that that part's all done, and then I can just set these boards aside and I can work on other projects. Like I still need to take out all the power equipment and everything that's in the van, and then rewire the van. But I've got a couple other things that I'm going to end up having to take the van to Dirt Road Garage to get worked out before I can start reassembly. All right, so the stain I'm going to use is this Danish oil. It's going to be a medium walnut. The reason why I chose this is just mainly because of the fact that I already bought it for another project and I never used it. But I think it will work well enough because I pretty much want to maintain the lightness of these boards inside so that I can maintain some, good visibility inside, because the white boards will reflect the light well. So I don't want it to be super dark, but I do want to have some color. For staining the boards, I used a roller which put a lot of stain on at one time, and then I went back over them with a rag. This seemed to work pretty well, and I was happy enough with the results. Alright guys, well, I've got the first coat of stain on the boards. It's looking really good. I'm really happy with the way that it's coming out. As you can see, these boards over here, they've been sitting out and have dried for a little bit, so they're a little bit lighter, and that's just exactly what I was looking for. Just a nice tinge of brown, extra brown into the board, just so they weren't quite so light, but it will still not be real dark inside the van. But I'm really liking how they are darkening up around the knots. I really like that. Like I said, these boards here I just finished staining, so they're still a little bit on the wet side compared to these ones that are on the ground. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's coming out really nice. I think this is going to look really good inside the van when it's all done. All right, well, now that we've got the boards all stained, the siding all stained, and it's staged and ready to come back in the van, I'm ready to continue on with the disassembly of the van. And the next thing we're going to work on is starting to disassemble what has been the kind of the control station of the van. This is all the components that are needed to basically keep my two lithium Battleborn 100 amp hour batteries charged and powering my external devices in the van, like my Max Air fan, my refrigerator, powering my laptop for editing, all that kind of stuff. When I originally started with the van, I had a mixture of 3 different products to basically run the whole van, and that was I had a Renogy DC to DC, I had a Victron MPPT controller, a Victron Shore Power controller, and then I had the trigger controller, which basically allowed me to turn on and off my lights and everything like that. And that system worked fine, and it did a good job. But the problem was it was very disjointed with the different products. There was different apps you had to go into to be able to monitor the system, different apps you had to go into to be able to turn lights on and off and things like that. And it just didn't work very well altogether. So I now have the Red Arc system, the Red Arc Manager 30 in combination with the Red Arc Red Vision system. And I really like it because it allows me to monitor and control, like turn things on and off, all from one single app or from this one single control box. And it not only allows me to monitor the system and to turn on different circuits, but it also allows me to monitor other things. Like it has the ability for me to monitor different temperatures. It has 2 temperature inputs. So I've been monitoring the external temperature outside and monitoring the internal temperature inside, which has been really nice. And another feature that I'm really going to like that I'm going to add with this current build is I'm going to be adding a water tank. And this also gives me the ability to monitor water tank. In fact, actually, you can monitor up to 6 tanks with this unit. I'm only going to have 1, but it's going to be really nice that, again, from one single app or this one single display, that I will be able to not only see how much charge I got coming in from whether it's coming in from my alternator, my solar, or whether I'm plugged into shore power, but it also allow me to turn on different lights, my external lights, my internal lights, be able to turn on my water pump, and be able to monitor inside outside temperature, plus be able to monitor my tank, all from, again, one single app on my phone or this control unit. So that makes it really nice. The challenge is, again, like I said, I'm going to tear this all out because, this particular area it was part of an idea of the original build of the van, which has gone away. And this is now going to be the kitchen area. And I just got too much going on here with liquids and steam and spatter and everything else. I don't want this unit here. And plus, because again, like I said, I kind of swapped systems around. Things have just kind of gotten a little messy and out of control. So we're just going to pull all this stuff off, rebuild it over here in the back corner of the van. And since we're in the system now that we're really liking, we're going to make sure that everything is wired a little bit nicer and make sure the system is very robust. This is all I have for you on this video. Like I said in the beginning, I'm trying to hammer out this build as quickly as I can so we can get back out in the woods. But if you did find this video helpful or interesting in some way, please give it a like. If you have any comments or questions on anything that you have seen so far, leave those down below, and we'll catch you guys again outside.